Can silence truly change lives? Can it reveal more than words ever could? Today, I'll share a story that will change the way you think about silence forever. Imagine being in a situation where your silence has the power to heal or to harm, but the choice is yours. This isn't just about peace, it's about survival. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end of this story, because the lesson might just change how you see the world and yourself. In a bustling town surrounded by mountains, there lived a young boy named Akiro. He was quiet, always keeping to himself and to many. His silence made him invisible. But at school, Akiro wasn't invisible. He was a target. Bullied every day, teased for being different, for speaking less, for being the silent one. Akiro's life was filled with torment. His classmates saw his silence as weakness, and over time, Akiro started believing it too. But there was one place where Akiro felt safe: the old temple at the edge of town. Every day after school, he would visit the temple and sit in front of a serene pond, its water still, reflecting the sky like a perfect mirror. There, he would sit in silence, watching the koi fish swim, feeling the breeze on his face. It was the only place where his silence felt like a friend, not a curse. One day, after a particularly cruel day at school, Akiro sat a day by the pond, longer than usual, his heart heavy with sadness. That's when the old monk, Master Ren, noticed him. Master Ren had seen Akiro visit the temple many times, but had never approached him until that day. The monk sat a day beside Akiro, saying nothing at first. After a few moments, he spoke softly. "You carry a heavy burden, young one." Akiro, without looking up, whispered, "I'm just tired. Tired of being silent. Tired of being seen as weak." Master Ren smiled, his eyes kind. "Do you know why the koi swim in silence?" he asked. Akiro shook his head. "They swim quietly, because they know their strength isn't in making noise. Their strength is in their stillness. The surface may seem calm, but beneath, they move with purpose and grace." Silence doesn't make you weak, Akiro. It makes you aware. Akiro didn't fully understand the monk's words, but they lingered in his mind. The next day at school, as the bullying continued, Akiro noticed something he hadn't before. Amidst the insults and mocking, there was a silence. A silence in those who witnessed his pain. His classmates, teachers, the people around him, they said nothing. And in that silence, Akiro saw something shocking. Their silence was a choice. He realized that silence could be as harmful as the words being thrown at him. The silence of those who watched allowed the bullying to continue, and in that moment, Akiro understood. Silence wasn't always golden. Sometimes, it could be deadly. That evening, Akiro returned to the temple and shared his thoughts with Master Ren. "Their silence hurts me more than their words," he said. Master Ren nodded slowly. "Silence has power, young one. But it is not always the power of peace. It can also be the power of indifference, of fear, of ignorance. The key is knowing when to stay silent and when to speak. Both are powerful, but only one can bring true change." Over the next few days, Akiro's perspective began to shift. He started to speak, not to confront his bullies directly, but to speak to those who stayed silent. He began sharing his story, talking to his teachers, reaching out to the students who watched in silence, encouraging them to stand up, to break the silence that was suffocating him. Slowly, something incredible happened. People started to listen. His classmates, once indifferent, began to see the power their silence held. Teachers, once passive, began to intervene, and Akiro, the silent one, had found his voice, not through anger or aggression, but through understanding the dual nature of silence. He had learned what Master Ren had been trying to teach him all along. Silence is not weakness, but silence used carelessly can become a weapon. The true power of silence lies in knowing when to embrace it and when to break it. Akiro's story teaches us a profound lesson about the power of silence. In a world filled with noise, we often think that silence is a retreat, a refuge. But we must remember, silence can be both a healer and a destroyer. It is our responsibility to decide how we use it. The next time you find yourself staying silent, ask yourself, is this the silence that heals or the silence that harms? Now, I want to hear from you. What role does silence play in your life? How has it impacted your relationships, your decisions, or even your sense of self? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Together, we can reflect on how silence shapes our world. If this story resonated with you, be sure to like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more stories filled with wisdom and lessons that can change your life. Thank you for watching. And remember, sometimes silence is powerful, but only if we use it wisely. I know some of you would like to know what will happen if silence is used wisely. That is why I made the video showing on the screen now, so feel free to check it out.